There is someone in your life right now who thinks they know everything about money. They have opinions about every investment. They give advice about every financial decision. They are completely confident, completely certain, and almost completely wrong. You probably already know who I am talking about. But here is the part that is going to make you deeply uncomfortable. That person might be you, and you would have no way of knowing, because the psychological phenomenon I am about to describe makes it literally impossible to recognize in yourself until it is too late. It has destroyed more wealth, ended more careers, and wrecked more financial futures than any market crash in history. And right now, it is operating inside the brains of millions of Americans who are completely convinced they are making smart decisions. Stay with me, because what you are about to discover might be the most important thing you ever learn about your own mind. The year is 1995. A man named MacArthur Wheeler walks into two Pittsburgh banks in broad daylight, with no disguise, robs both of them, and is arrested later that same day. When police show him the security camera footage, Wheeler is genuinely confused. He looks at the footage and says, "But I wore the juice. I wore the juice." He had rubbed lemon juice on his face because he had read somewhere that lemon juice can be used as invisible ink, and he had concluded, with complete logical certainty, that if lemon juice makes writing invisible on paper, it would make his face invisible on camera. He was not joking. He was not drunk. He genuinely believed this, with total confidence. When Cornell psychologist David Dunning heard about this case, he did not laugh. He asked one question: how can someone be so incompetent and yet so completely unaware of their own incompetence? And in 1999, he and his graduate student, Dunning Kruger, published the answer: the Dunning Kruger Effect. Here is how it works. Dunning and Kruger tested hundreds of participants on logic, grammar, and humor. Then they asked each participant to estimate how well they had performed compared to others. The results revealed something that should terrify every person making financial decisions. The people who scored in the bottom quarter estimated their performance to be above average. Not just a little above average, significantly above average. The least competent people in the room were the most confident about their abilities. And the most competent people in the room consistently underestimated their own abilities. The people who knew the most were least sure of themselves. The people who knew the least were absolutely certain. Now stop for one moment, because here is the question you need to answer honestly. Think about your financial knowledge right now. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate yourself? Most people watching this video rated themselves a 6 or above. And Dunning-Kruger research consistently shows that the people most likely to overrate themselves are the people who have learned just enough to feel confident, but not enough to recognize what they do not know. Here is the curve that explains everything. When you know absolutely nothing about a subject, you have low confidence. You know you do not know. But as you learn a little, your confidence skyrockets. You feel like an expert. You start giving advice, making big decisions, taking significant risks. Dunning and Kruger called this peak Mount Stupid, the place where you know just enough to be dangerous. Then as you keep learning, your confidence crashes because you start to discover how much you do not know. You realize the subject is far more complex than you thought. This valley is called the Valley of Despair, and most people never make it through. They either stay on Mount Stupid forever, or they give up in the Valley of Despair. The few who keep going reach the plateau of sustainability, where confidence matches actual competence, and where real wealth building begins. Now here is where this connects to your financial life in devastating detail. Mount Stupid in personal finance looks like this. Someone reads one book about investing, watches a few YouTube videos about the stock market, and suddenly knows exactly which stocks to buy, which crypto will moon next month, exactly why the economy is going to crash, exactly why their financial advisor is wrong, exactly why everyone else is a sheep. They are on Mount Stupid, and they are about to lose money. Significant money. Because confidence, without competence, is the most expensive state a human being can occupy. Here is the research that proves how expensive Mount Stupid actually is. A 2000 study by behavioral economists Brad Barber and Terence Odian analyzed the trading records of 66,000 American households. They found that the most active traders, the most confident investors, the ones making the most decisions, earned returns that were 2.65% lower per year than passive investors. People who did nothing, just held index funds, consistently outperformed the confident active traders by 2.65% every year, compounded over 30 years. That difference equals hundreds of thousands of dollars. The most confident investors were the most expensive investors to themselves. But here is the twist that changes everything. Because Dunning and Kruger did not just document the problem, they found the solution. And it is not what you expect. In follow-up experiments, researchers found that simply showing people their blind spots did not fix overconfidence. Telling someone they are on Mount Stupid just made them defensive. But one specific intervention worked consistently: exposure to genuine expertise. When people spent time around people who were genuinely competent in a field, their own confidence calibrated, not because they were told they were wrong, but because they could see the depth of what they did not know. They could feel the gap between where they were and where genuine expertise actually lived. And that feeling, that genuine humility in the face of real knowledge, is the entry point to the plateau of sustainability, where real decisions get made, where real wealth gets built. And here is the most important financial application of this research. The wealthiest long-term investors in history share one psychological trait: not intelligence, not risk tolerance, not market timing ability, epistemic humility, the consistent awareness that they might be wrong. Warren Buffett has said repeatedly that his greatest competitive advantage is knowing what he does not know. Charlie Munger built his entire investment philosophy around the concept of mental models, specifically because he knew that any single model, any single framework, would eventually blind him to something important. The most successful financial minds in history were not the most confident. They were the most aware of their own limitations. So here is the test. Right now, think about your strongest financial opinion, the thing you are most certain about, your most confident prediction. Now ask yourself 3 questions. 1. What evidence would change my mind on this? 2. Who is the smartest person who disagrees with me on this, and why? 3. What would I need to learn to feel genuinely uncertain about this? If you cannot answer all 3 questions, you are on Mount Stupid. And Mount Stupid has a very predictable exit: straight down. The bank robber who wore lemon juice on his face was not stupid. His IQ was completely normal. He simply did not know enough to know what he did not know. And in that gap, between his confidence and his competence, he made a decision that destroyed his life. The same gap exists in every financial decision made from overconfidence. The only difference is the size of the loss. Now, here is what I want from you. Right now, drop one comment, just one. The financial topic you feel most confident about. Investing, crypto, real estate, the economy, debt, whatever it is. Because I am going to tell you in the replies the 3 things about that topic that most confident people do not know. And that reply might save you more money than any investment you ever make. Drop it below. And if this video made you question something you were certain about, share it right now. Not tomorrow. Right now. Because someone you know is on Mount Stupid right now, about to make a decision that will cost them years of financial progress. And you just learned the map that shows exactly where they are. Share it with them. Hit that like button. Because every like tells YouTube to show this to someone whose confidence is about to cost them everything. Subscribe to Psycho Wealth and hit that bell. Because next week, we are going to the darkest place we have visited yet. The psychological reason why people who finally escape poverty often deliberately destroy their own success right at the moment everything is about to change. Self-sabotage at the highest level, and the science behind why it happens, and how to stop it. You are not ready for what we found. This is Psycho Wealth, and this is just the beginning.